the commission meeting for December the 12th, 2019. We have no tree permit right-of-way issues under Title 33. We've got one issue under Title 37, the landscape ordinance. I have visited the Procos Athens Central Hotel. Has anybody else looked at it? Has anyone done an inventory of the large shade trees? Okay. What I found there was that I could account perhaps for 8 large shade trees. We approved a plan on November 14th. No, not that one. Where has it gone? I've just lost my note of when we approved that one. It was way back. It wasn't a November meeting.
September or October.
Yeah, it's... where did I put it? There it is. We approved their plan on October 11th, 2017, for 10 large shade trees. It was noted at the time there were... the plan had 9 large shade trees, 2 of which are existing, and then 2 medium trees. So one medium tree makes a large tree, hence the 10. I visited the site, and what I found was that the 8 trees that may have been on the existing list appear to be on the wrong side of a fence. They seem to have perhaps belong to an adjacent property, but that's something we're going to have to investigate. And that I could only account for 8 large shade trees on the site. And so what I'm going to do is suggest that we report this to the code director and see if he can organise a meeting where at least one of us, a code officer and somebody from the Procos Hotel, can attend a site visit and just try and identify what trees we've got there, because I couldn't read some of the labels. They were too high up.
Would they possibly be counting those 2?
I think they were, yes, but I'm not. But I'd like to confirm, because it's showing 2 large shade trees on the north edge of the site. But those large shade trees, when I went there, one of them is a pin oak, which agrees with what's on this plan, but it's on the wrong side of a fence, to be, I would thought, attributed to the hotel property. And then the other tree, which is labelled here as, I think, it says EB. That's existing birch. I'm not even sure it's alive. It's got an awful lot of ivy growing up it, and it didn't look to be in a particularly healthy state.
So pin oak on the other side of the fence, did they plant it? Or was
no, it's existing. Yeah. It's a tree that looks like it's at least 20 years old.
Okay. They had their fence to it.
Pardon?
They had their fence tied to it.
Did they? Oh, okay.
So when you say a birch, do you know what kind of?
No, it just says existing birch on here. And there is one birch that we allow as a large shade tree, and I forget which one that one is. But this tree has 2 leaders, basically, not many branches, and is at least, I would say, 20 feet tall. So it's a reasonable height, but it had an awful lot of ivy growing on both of these leaders.
Are those all new plantings?
Yes. Yeah, and there's juniper, dogwoods, lilac, but none of these count for large shade trees. So my proposal is that I'll report this to the code office and leave it in the hands of our code director to decide how we're going to address this issue. But I think a site visit there is the best way to try and resolve this. Any other comments, questions, concerns on that one?
No.
Okay, then we will minute it as that. Unless you've got any comments at all you want to pass on?
No, I know that Ron didn't give us a report, so...
No, it's all right. I don't need a... I'm just referring to the Procos Hotel.
Well, I know that If we have the plans, I have not looked at those. That actually happened before I
Yes.
was fully up to speed.
Yeah.
So I'll check into it, and then I will schedule a meeting.
But I'll send you an email with a copy of this plan and some notes
Great.
that
Yeah.
I've made about it. Okay, that's all I've got on Title 37, landscape issues. I still haven't heard anything more from the O'Brennis people, so we haven't moved forward on that. I don't know what they're doing, but they don't have a set of approved plans.
I can follow up on that if you like.
If you could, please, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. The next item is the changes to the reporting structure of the Shade Tree Commission. I think all of you received the email from Andy Stone, the Service Safety Director, noting that Ron had changed positions and that for the time being we're going to have as our point of contact David Riggs, the Code Enforcement and Development Director. I've got sort of two things I think we need to deal with on that in that regard. I think it's a good idea to have the co-director close to what we're doing with the Tree Commission. We've obviously come across issues in the past where the connections have not been made as well as they might have been, and so I think having the co-director more closely allied with this commission is a good idea. I think the other thing that I would like to do, and I've already drafted this in the second page of your materials, I've noted there that he's going to become our point of contact, and that I suggest that we develop a calendar for the year of activities that we need to do, and that I will go to the Mayor and ask for resources for this to be done. And it's really up to the Mayor to decide exactly where those resources are going to come from, but there's some things that we should be doing, I feel, on a more regular basis. For instance, committing to pruning trees. We need to do some lifting of the branches on the trees, so we can...
the Arbor Day stuff.
We've got the Arbor Day event to deal with at some point in the year. We have plantings both in the spring and the fall. Now, in terms of selecting sites, I've always tried to get them done as early as I can, either August, September time. And I think we're going to that selection of sites is going to fall back onto us. But then we're going to need a resource within the city who can, once we've decided what sites and the city's decided what budget we've got, we're going to need somebody in the city then to place the orders and make sure all the paperwork is done within the city, because we don't have any authority to do any of that.
Well, the planting of the trees, too.
And then the planting of the trees is something that will be included in the purchase of the trees. But there are activities throughout the year. I mean, if we get new trees, for instance, we're going to have to make sure they're being watered, particularly during the summer months. May in fact go into September and October if it's a year like this one. But I can see other events that we are sort of allied with, Athens in Bloom, for instance, that would benefit from having a calendar set up where there are resources within the city being dedicated to that.
I like it just because I always wondered myself.
Yeah. So what I would suggest you do, we don't need to do this now, I'd like you to look over this sort of monthly list, and if you can see other things that we should be adding to this list.
Well, one of the things I was thinking about right away was maintenance of the trees that people call in about and current worries.
Yes. Now thank you for raising that. This was another job that Ron used to do, but it heavily involved the code office, because the way the process works is that if somebody's got a concern about a tree that may be a city tree, one of the boxes that had to be checked was by a code officer who would go out and check that the tree was a city tree. And so, again, having the code office involved immediately in this should make things happen a little bit more smoothly. We'll have to agree an exact process with the Code Office. We do have existing forms, but they may not make sense now in the electronic age. There may be a better way of doing it. But typically what happens with those is that a report is made and the site has to be checked by a code officer. One of us is expected to go and look at the site as well and make a recommendation based on what we think should happen, but then an arborist such as Ann Bonner is asked sometimes to go and check on the health of the tree, because we're by no means experts in tree health, and something out of that could happen that Ann says, well, this tree, it needs some deadwood pruning, and it's going to need deadwood pruning for the next so many years. Well, at that point, the tree commission can step in and say, no, we don't think we're going to deadwood prune this tree for many years. We're going to take it out and plant a new one. That's the sort of decision that we can make and a recommendation to the city. Whereas if Anne looks at it and says, you better take this thing down quickly, well, it needs to be done. And so we have to rely on experts like her to advise us on the health and longevity of the tree. And then it's up to us to decide or recommend what's in the best interest of the city in the particular case. I mean, most of the time, if the trees living, we keep them because living trees provide shade, a lot more shade than their replacements do.
Well, you've done a good job over the decades of addressing hazards. I was just telling David, you don't have the big problem trees that many towns do.
So, and before anybody goes out to look at that tree, I understand there are resources. The city can just look at the maps and tell where what the right-of-way depth is, so that
it doesn't always work that well.
Oh, really?
No. Yes, that's a starting point, and the Code Office have some maps that can help them. But sometimes you've just got to go out there and stand and look and make a judgment as to whether that tree is in the right-of-way or not.
But before you go, you want to know if the right-of-way is 20 feet.
Oh, yes.
That's what I'm...
Yeah, but that's what the Code Office people do. They have all the maps available to them.
That's what I was referring to.
Yeah. But no, often in this city you just go out and look and say, well, yep, that's in the right-of-way. No, it's not. Yes, that process for tree permits is one that I need to establish.
What is your understanding of the budget that we have for trees?
I have no understanding. That again is something I want to raise with the mayor as to exactly, because in terms of what we're talking about here, there are costs, but I'm more interested in committing people hours or time or whatever unit the city wants to work in, so that we know that we've got city workers available to do some of the basic tree maintenance that we know we need to be doing. And we can plan to do it. I mean, I think the winter months are probably the best time to be thinking about pruning the trees because they're dormant at that point.
And I would suggest on this list that September and October also include watering.
Yes, I think you're right.
And if there's enough rain, then that doesn't need to be done. But
yes, you're right. Yep.
Can I add something? I haven't seen that specific calendar, but if you're ordering trees, it might be a really good idea to try to, like, if you want something for the spring, order now.
Yes. Oh, yeah. The one of my concerns in the past has been that we don't order our trees early enough. That we would be better if we can do our site selection and ordering back in September. Because the people that run nurseries have told me that if we give them a month or two's lead time, they can get what we want. And we're not stuck with what they've got left.
Yeah, even more than a month. Like, if you want to plant in the fall, I would say August, because that's a slow time for the nurseries. And they can be, they're looking at their inventories.
Yep,
and you get on the dig list, it's all the order that you call in. First on the dig list. And you guys want the good tree. You're asking for natives and generic pet, more of a premium.
Yep.
where I was from, nurseries would typically only dig twice a year, and the fall was their main one, and they did a supplemental in the spring. And those where you want to make sure you got your order in before those two primary digs. Otherwise, you end up with a ball and burlap tree that may have set for several months and it's just not in as good a condition as when you get it freshly balled and burlapped.
Yeah.
If you order even 6 months ahead of time, it's not too early to consider buying trees.
Dave, you're going to have to tell about your past. Do we know if there was a fall planting?
Yes, there was a fall planting. Yes, it's in the minutes of the last meeting. I will move the site selection up to July. In that case, and hopefully we'll get our orders in early enough.
It says will be planted.
Oh, have I got a mistake?
Will be done.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if it had happened.
Yes, it has. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so suggestions for the list of tasks throughout the year would be appreciated.
So, I just wondered if David has heard anything about... Have you heard anything about what parts of what Ron did that you might be...
No, I'm actually winging it, so we'll see. I could give you, if you don't mind, I'll give you just a quick history. I have a lot of history with another community in southwest Ohio where I worked on the. They didn't have a tree board. We had a citizen group that acted for in lieu of a tree board, and we managed the city's. Trees. We did it for about 22 years. We were Tree City USA for over 20 years there at the city, and I've got a little bit of experience and understanding of what, especially right-of-way trees, what the demands and the requirements are of that. So I do have a little bit of experience.
That's more than a little bit.
Yeah.
We're excited.
Good. Okay, so moving on to the maintenance of the tree canopy, I can confirm that trees were planted at the end of Elmwood, because I had a call from somebody who had a tree planted and was just inquiring as to who had planted the tree, because apparently we hadn't informed them that a tree was to be planted, and that's again something that I would like to happen on a more regular basis, even if it's just a letter that goes to the owner saying that we're going to do this.
Can I make a comment? I live on Elmwood. We had Ann come out and had a community tour of the street. I've had students in the past work in that area and identified areas that needed trees. And I also walked the street with Ron, so we established places where trees were needed. And Ann engaged the community. There was a lot of buy-in. I think we had about 20 people. And so I sent an email to Ron with the specific sites that we had agreed upon. And they planted 3 trees. And one is at 15, one is at 25, and then one is further south. So there's a variety of areas that really need to be filled in. That canopy, as you enter the street, is really depleted and impacted. It's not healthy. So, and we've just lost trees. Citizens became so frustrated, they cut their own trees down and planted pears, calico pears. After a period of years trying to get trees planted. So that's what's happening on Elmwood. And we have a tree at 66 that is incredibly dangerous. And I've emailed photographs of it to the mayor, to Andy Stone, and to Ron. It's dead. It's dead. It's dropping. And it needs to be removed.
Well,
We looked at it in the summertime.
yeah, Ron looked at it, and I think, didn't you look at it as well?
Yeah, we all agreed it's
Yeah.
a candidate.
Yeah, and I don't know.
It's dropped huge limbs on the neighbor's house, knocked out a couple of trees there. I'm really worried for the safety of humans.
Yeah, I know Ron looked at it, and I believe he said it was going to get taken down. I wonder if that's something that might fall through the cracks that we need to And I see David writing it down.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that tree's been dead for a while.
It's 66.
It's a big tulip poplar, I think. Or...
Yeah, there are 3 tulip poplars, lovely trees. 2 are in decline, and identified that, and the one is totally dead.
If I might ask a question, do we have a tree hazard list? Doesn't look like we do. Okay.
Well, Ron would have maintained it if he did, because what we would do is that if we think the tree is an immediate hazard, obviously it gets removed quickly. If it's in a case where it needs to be removed but it's not urgent, then it was put onto a list so that we could get a contractor in to remove several trees at once, because that's cheaper than having them doing them one at a time.
Okay.
And so Ron would have been the person, and so now that's going to have to come to you. It'll be part of the tree permit process.
You actually should have an arborist, and I'm not, I'm afraid, but should have an arborist that arborists actually have forms that will determine whether a tree is a hazard or not, and that helps protects the city from liability.
Yeah.
And especially if you have a list, it's really helpful to...
Yeah.
Well,
Should do that.
that was why I said we have three steps in our process. One is the code office confirming it is a city tree. The second, an arborist has to look at it and give us a decision on the health. And I wasn't aware of that form, but it sounds like a great idea just to include that. And then, as I say, the tree commission sometimes has to weigh in and say, no, we don't want to go down that route. We'll just take it out this year rather than keep on pruning it. Or no, we're going to keep it because it's still got good life left in it.
One of the things that I think you're getting to is that we should be doing drive-throughs, periodically, and hopefully you get to the point where, you only have, your trees are so good that you're not removing that many. But we probably, I think, she was just telling me that she knows of one that needs to look at, and maybe it has been a few years since we've been proactive.
Well, I still think the best... I don't know how many miles of streets there are in Athens, but I'm not going to propose that we try and do a tour of the streets of Athens. So I want to rely on citizens to report these things, and I want a process that makes it easy for them to do it. And so that's why I'm going to talk to David about whether we can move this into the modern age and have a form on our website somewhere that people can use to quickly fill out, because all we need to know is where it is and what they think the problem is, and we'd like a contact for it, their name perhaps, but we really just need the address and what they think is wrong, and we can take it from there.
Honestly, though, I think sometimes it's an excellent teachable moment, though. That FaceTime with a resident, especially when you have a new homeowner, you have a big tree in their front yard. They're scared of it. They don't know anything about it. They might be from another country, or we get a lot of people from a lot of places here. I don't know. I think those are great opportunities to.
Well, they are, but I'm just saying, I've got 7 volunteers on this commission, and I don't think we've got the people power to do what you're thinking of doing.
I am happy to look at them on their questions, but I do like to have that homeowner there when I'm there, because it's a chance to educate them.
Yeah.
And most of the time, there's not really an important structural issue with the tree. I mean, aside from yours, there were structural issues on that tree.
Yeah, it was dead.
And in the past, there have been trees that were a hazard, and the safety service people just came in and took it down. We didn't hear about it until later. That happened frequently, it seems to me.
Well, if we put something out for people, we need to make sure it says something that limits it from just something they don't like, or something that may be getting into their roots, maybe getting into their basement.
Yeah, I mean, that's why the tree risk assessment is important. It actually is a way to kind of quantify risk related to targets. But yeah, like I said, most of the time it's, the tree's dropping leaves and they're cool. They don't come out and say that, but that's really the issue. Or the tree's dropping leaves in the gutter or something. They just need...
Did you say, Lorraine, that all 3 of the dead trees were tulip poplars?
Is that last one, Joel, the dead one? Is the dead one?
Yeah, I think they're all tulip poplars for some reason.
Is there something going on with tulip poplars?
They're just, that yard has sustained a lot of herbicide treatments over the years, and not a single broadleaf plant in it. Tulip trees, they're kind of delicate. I mean, they're a tough tree, but so there was I think stress from that. There was also a new sidewalk put in recently.
Construction as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're fairly old. I mean,
Yeah, they are older, bigger trees.
Yeah, for a city site,
Yeah. Yeah, just unfortunate.
And we wouldn't have planted three that close together either.
They're pretty far apart. It's a double lot. It's larger.
Okay, I remember they were only 10 or 15 feet apart, those trees, which is closer than we would normally plant them. We try to keep them 30
it's
feet
more than
apart.
that.
Is it? Okay.
I think so.
They're good. I mean, you want to encourage that apical dom, that straightness, but they were really lovely. It's just, for whatever reason, they do need to replace.
Yeah.
Yeah. So David, what happens if there's a dead tree not in the right of way, but it's dropping branches on the sidewalk?
I think the city, and this is where the code office probably knows the answer better than I do, the city intervenes and says you need to fix this problem.
I was actually trying to find that in the code, and I don't see it anywhere. I know, like I said, that a lot of communities have that, where they actually have the right to go on private property if there's a hazard tree. I haven't been able to find that in our city code yet. Maybe something we want to look at.
On East State Street, there's an ash, and it's already brought down some line. I don't know if they're phone lines or power lines, and it's a rental, so they're not going to do anything about it. So.
Colin.
Yeah. He's now the point of contact.
What was that address again?
I'll note the address.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is Cal repair on the allowed list?
I don't think so, isn't it?
Well, I don't think it's on our list as a tree we would recommend, but it's only a small tree, and therefore it's not one that we would, even under the circumstances where there's high voltage cables, it's not one that we would encourage people to go planting.
Is the calorie one of the calorie pairs on a prohibited list, invasive species?
Level, yeah. So we're in year 3, so get your calorie repair in the next 2 years.
They'll be cheap at the landscaping company.
Yes, big sale.
Now, does that mean that the city is going to start removing them from the...
No, it just means that they will not be...
Because we've got a bigger problem in terms of the population of those things on city land.
Yeah. Well, I think that's, you just eat away at it. I think you fill, it's like everything, pick your low-hanging fruit first. Plant your best sites first, with the residential, the owner-occupied housing, big, beautiful places to plant trees. Fill those spaces up, and then you go to the rentals and the tougher places, and then you can start looking at whittling down your less desirable trees. But there's, that step. And there's so many good planting spaces around town that I think we could...
Well, remember, we also deal with the large parks and things, and I'm thinking of that space between the bike path and the Hocking, where we've now got endemic pear trees, and they're just going to keep on propagating until somebody takes action in that area.
Yeah, well, that's a separate issue then.
But if the state is now banning them, is the state going to expect us to remove them, is the question.
No, this is through the Department of Agriculture, and this is about the propagation and sale of non-native invasive species, and there's a whole list of plants that
But we will be allowing that tree to propagate on the city land if we don't do something about it, won't we?
That'll be an internal problem we'll have to discuss.
We're not going to stop it, I don't think. I mean,
It's out of the genie's out of the box.
Well, if the genie's out of the box, why is the state bothering?
Be for sale,
well,
the new ones.
yeah, I mean, we got to start somewhere.
They're a poorly structured tree anyway.
Yeah, I wouldn't have one.
There is a group that's trying to get organized around dealing with invasives on city-owned land. There's a group that I've met with them, and the mayor actually attended 2 of the meetings over the past year. I think I've tried to copy some of you on this. We came up with a plan. We did some technology transfer. Susan was involved with some site visits. but it's a daunting thing, and it's kind of, we run into where, who's going to do the work? And it kind of has stopped. But
Well, that's where my calendar comes in, because once we identify jobs like this, then we will have resources to do them. Because one of the, again, in that same area, if I was to begin tackling it, what I'd do is I'd take about a 100-foot stretch along the bike path and go in about 20 or 30 feet and just clear everything except the trees in that 100-foot, 30-foot deep piece to see what the problem is, because unless you really look at it without all that brush that is invasive anyway, you can't see what the extent of the problem is. And so I think we have to do some mechanical clearing to start with, and then we can assess what there really is behind there.
Well, they've already assessed it. We already know what's there. I mean, these guys, they're the service forester. That's what they do every day.
The soil and water invasive expert, they put a great plan together.
Yeah. So and mechanical is fine, but with
Why wasn't the plan given to the Tree Commission?
This is the 6 acres,
yeah,
but
you guys are copied on these meetings.
yeah, I attended one of the
I went
meetings.
to those.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they.
Did it detail how many people hours we're going to need, or what machines we're going to have to use? Or? Okay.
The mayor had made some sort of commitment.
But honestly, David, to kill bush honeysuckle, you have to use chemicals. And I'm not saying, broadcasting the use of poisons across the landscape, but surgically applied to plants, like basil bark or stump. It's the only way to.
That's what they said.
So,
And over a period of years, actually.
yeah, and we have to be really calculated. So I love the idea of just go in and start, but I think it does have to be planned out. And but yeah,
No. All I was suggesting was what has already been done by the sound of it. Somebody's actually figured out how many people or what resources we're going to need to get this done. That was all I was suggesting in clearing this. If you've done a different way of doing it, that's fine. That's fine. But we need to commit resources to these things. We need to quit planning and do. And we're very bad at that. We're very bad in this city. We're continuously planning and not doing.
Yeah, that's kind of where we stopped. And I actually, I hate this on TV, but I have been approached at Kroger's from a lot of people that want to carry this forward and keep trying.
Yeah.
So maybe I would be happy to, maybe in January, I will plan another meeting, and we'll just, and I'll try to, if the Tree Commission could be represented, maybe.
Well, it sounds like you've done that. You don't. It's
One step taken care of, didn't those troops,
They did clean the litter.
there was volunteers that went in, took tires, and there is one
okay.
step, that was the first step, you didn't get the trash out.
Well, I think, didn't the mayor come and say he's committing
The
so much?
mayor is committed.
Now, the trouble was that the workers didn't seem to know that they could do
We have to
that.
figure out the chain of command.
It's called committing resources.
Yeah.
Right? And those resources need to have some supervisors behind them who know what it is that we're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
And that's where, again, the mayor's got to come in and commit the resources to make it happen.
And some of the city workers needed certification in order to do the pesticide applications properly.
And now I'm remembering the juggernaut, because the person that really was best kind of poised to take that on was really concerned about his own personal liability,
Right.
being the only person in the city
Well,
with ODA pesticides.
Right.
And I'm working on him. He's a younger guy. There's a lot of potential for him.
There's frequent television ads saying this stuff causes cancer.
Well, yeah, he was slightly
I mean,
concerned about that too.
it's hard to ask somebody to take that on when they have a moot point there and a good point.
I think the certification will give you all the best safety available, but yes, these are very harmful chemicals.
There are ways to do it safely. I mean, but there was some moving. Thank you for reminding me, David. That was part of the.
Yeah, I remember.
I think it's worthy to get us all together with the department heads and just see if we can't. There's probably somebody that'd be willing to take that on and do that, but it does need to be somebody within the city.
It needs to be 2 people.
Yeah.
My rule with any task like that is that you have 2 people, because then you've got a backup. Then you've got people sharing information. You've got cross-checking. It's a much better practice to have 2 people, not just one person.
I was thinking if we could get one certified.
No, I'd have 2 certified.
2 certified.
Yes. Sorry, it just won't work without going to that level.
Well, I'm surprised that there's that no one's certified in the street department, because traditionally, I mean, right-of-way management requires some use of herbicide, but I don't know that Athens uses it. Yeah, I think they pride themselves on that.
We've always told this there isn't any.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Is there a place people can get certified?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, through the Department of Agriculture, it's a pretty,
Athens Extension Office.
yeah, the opposite, yeah.
Say what?
Ed Brown. Ed Brown, the Athens Extension Office.
Is he
The books
certified?
are online, you go to, there's multiple schedules of testing, costs a little bit.
Well, that's right in town.
Yes.
And again, we're not proposing or promoting the idea of, broadcasting pesticides across the well fields or anything, but this would be, you could be very effective with very small amounts of the right chemical during the right time of year.
Yes, that's what they said.
Yeah, I mean, it really, I've done it at my own farm. I've tried it the mechanical ways, and, the plants just triple in size, And
You just make them mad. No, just kidding. So.
But you're absolutely right, David, so maybe that's so
Maybe, yes.
I'll get on that for 2021.
Good.
So that stuff is dangerous, let's face it.
Driving in your car is dangerous. I mean, you're right, but we take risks every day, and if we want to have healthy ecosystems, we've got to
So
control.
what is the next step with that group?
What's that?
What is the next step with that group?
I think trying to reconvene maybe and see it. We have
Maybe.
new players now. We have David Riggs, who's sorry that he told me who he was now. And then we'll get Terry Moore, because Terry had shoulder surgery, so we want to. She's the head of parks, and the mayor will try to just get everybody together again and see if we can, and maybe if we can offer, if we come up with a timeline and we've got some people that can help supervise. I don't know where it'll go.
Well, it's a case of, this sounds like it's a program that's going to go over several years.
Yeah.
It's going to have resources allocated to it on a regular basis, and those are going to have to
That
come
was clearly
from,
talked about.
and that's going to have to come from the city.
And
to
Anne made
make
that point
happen.
several times.
And until we get that commitment, we can't take on these tasks. Because we can't do it with volunteers. It just isn't practical.
Well, what we can do is plant the streets. We can plant those beautiful residential areas with the 8-foot tree lawns with no wires. We can get those planted in oaks and black elm. And we can do that. That's easy stuff. Get that done. And meanwhile, we'll work on this other stuff too. And I think more than several years. I think it's a program. I mean, some of it, I want to ask David again if I can.
Yeah.
You're from Southwest Ohio, where they have a horrendous bush honeysuckle problem.
Yes.
You're who gave us bush honeysuckle.
Yeah.
What did you do on a city level? Like, what did you do there? Did you have like a parks department that treated it, or?
Yeah, we had our parks department, and we actually worked primarily in the parks to try to remove honeysuckle. We actually used a lot of mechanical. They have this new attachment that goes on skid steer that is just amazing. It'll turn everything into mulch, and then when you're done, we would go back and basil spray the stumps, and you'd get a few shoots come up next year, but it would almost completely wipe it out. Now you'd have to continue to maintain that. We actually contracted that out. We had a contractor that would come and do it, rather than the city buying an expensive piece of equipment.
What did you do at the site after it was cleared out? Did you plant trees? Or?
We did. We went back and planted small small trees in some of the areas. In some of the areas, we were just trying to clear out the underbrush. We had a coyote problem, and so we were trying to make sure that we kept that underbrush cleared so that we wouldn't have concerns with coyote population there.
So you can use it and keep the big tree.
Everybody that worked for me was had a pesticide license.
How many people in your park staff?
We had 4 or 5 in the parks, and then we also had the public works department that had 14.
Were they certified
I had one certified arborist. Yeah.
Good. We've got an expert.
Excited to have you.
Okay, so if you ideas to put on this planning document for me to talk with the mayor about.
Would it be worth looking at past minutes and seeing what you talked about? Would that trigger any ideas about things that might go on there, or do you feel that's a pretty comprehensive list?
I think it's comprehensive. It's enough to get a conversation started with the mayor about how we're going to do this, because I think we need resources throughout the year, and that's the challenge that we've always had in the city. That we've never been able to get a full-time person to do these things. But what I would like to be able to do is identify a resource within the city where that group of employees has got some commitment from their supervisor to provide some time during the year, each of these months, to get certain jobs done, rather than again having one person have several people who could do the job, and then a supervisor that's going to agree, yes, we will use these resources and they're going to be available throughout the year to make it happen.
I think it definitely needs to have the budget added to it.
Yep. I've written it down there.
Okay.
David, I hope, I don't want to put people on the spot, but the city does have two workers who have been so good at attending my conferences. The one has become a certified arborist. They're, I think if we could capture some of that, I'm not sure they're always busy or doing, I think probably guide some of the...
Well, that's why it's necessary to get the supervisors of these people on board. So when they can identify time available with certain workers, then we can get certain jobs done. We identify the jobs and say, these need to be done in these months. Can you take care of it? And we'll leave it to the supervisor to figure out what the schedule's going to be.
And I'm not sure who their supervisor is.
No, well, that's well, I'll go to the mayor, and the mayor can figure it out.
Yeah, we need a...
Got one more item on the maintenance of tree canopy. Just told before the meeting started that the Arbor Day video was posted. So there was a video taken by the city, and it's been posted at the city website. That, I think, brings me to the end of my stuff. Is there any other business that people want to raise?
Was Lorraine going to talk to us about the students doing the tree inventory?
I don't.
Lorraine, were you still able? Are there still students possibly interested in doing a tree inventory?
I have students working on it right now.
Oh,
good.
And they've been working on Congress. And so, actually, they're presenting tomorrow in class. And so we'll have, I can compile all that material and send it to you folks.
good, great.
We also had a graduate student some years ago who did her leadership practicum using different methodologies to figure out, it wasn't the entire city, but how the right of way had changed since the 1990 assessment. So we have that documentation, and if I could dig up a student to, spend their time on this in total, that would be great.
Well, that's great. That's a good street to inventory.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, that'd be great.
Yeah, we have some documentation, but students have looked at probably, it's just part of a class that I do, so they can't, it's not hours and hours assessing the streets.
See if they find the Baroque on North Congress.
On North yeah, I'll find out.
Yeah. Yeah, they get an A if they find the Baroque.
They better find it.
Okay. Is there anything else? If not, we've got minutes of the last meeting to review. See if we can find them. Yes.
The Tree City application was submitted, correct?
It was submitted, yes.
Yeah, sorry about that. It did.
Yeah. No, that's good.
I went into the portal, and then after I sent that email, it was like, it was amazing.
Well, we got it in. That's all that counts.
It was good. But
Yeah.
I think Tree City USA is something that you have to work on throughout the whole year. So it would be a good idea for that to be included on your calendar, to maybe assign someone to take pictures at Arbor Day, and someone to be paying attention to what trees you planted and trees you removed and trees you're pruning.
Okay.
Those things in your volunteer hours. I think Ron had kind of done it
Yes, he did
on
that.
his own, and
Yeah.
you guys were... Now, did you write the annual report? Ron was writing the annual report.
He wrote the annual report. I wrote it 1 or 2 years, but he then took over that.
Do you want to put that on the list too?
Yes, I have to.
Banking.
Well, the banking is separate.
I mean, don't you want to talk to the mayor about that too?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All right, well, I motion Alex to approve the minutes.
Thank you, David.
Second.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, all those, is there any objection to approving the minutes of the last meeting? Hearing none, we have minutes. Our next meeting will be on January the 9th next year, 2020. With that, we are adjourned.